Okay, this is still sections 1.4 and 1.5. I told you we were going to kind of put these together. In 1.5, I believe, it talks about parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, we know parallel lines never intersect, never touch. Okay, that means that they have the same slope. They're going to be rising or falling at the same rate. Perpendicular lines, we know that they intersect to form a right angle. So their slopes would not be the same. They're actually what we call opposite reciprocals. So if one is a positive, the other line has to be a negative. And then the numbers are actually reciprocals of each other. So what you will have to do on the homework is, again, writing equations of a line. They're going to give you some information. Use that information along with the point slope form to write the equation. So this says passing through the point 4, -3 and parallel to the line whose equation is y equals -2x plus 5. Okay, so this tells me, by looking at this equation, I can tell the slope of this line is -2. So the line that's parallel to this one, that slope would also be -2. Because if they're parallel, then they're going to have the same slope. So I would use the point slope form of the line, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Use the point that's given in the problem as your x1 and y1. So I would have y minus a -3 would be plus 3 equals -2 for my slope. X minus 4, so that's the x value of my point. Remember, this is point slope form. This says to write it in slope intercept form, so that means I need to distribute the -2, so that would be -2x plus 8, subtract 3 from 8 to get y by itself, so y equals -2x plus 5. This would be the equation of a line that's parallel to the given line, and it passes through the point that was given. Okay, the other type of problem you're going to have is going to be dealing with perpendicular. Okay, so it says passing through point 2,5 and perpendicular to the line whose equation is -8x plus y minus 5 equals 0. Well, I can't tell by looking at this one yet what its slope is. But if I solve it for y, okay, that means if I add 8x and then I add 5, see, I just move those over across the equal sign so that I can get it in slope intercept form, I can see that the slope of this line is 8. So that means my perpendicular slope needs to be the opposite reciprocal. So if this is positive 8, it's going to be a negative. The reciprocal of 8, if I flip it over, is 1/8. So this is the slope that I have to use in my problem, okay, the one that's perpendicular to it. So again, I'm going to be using the point slope formula. Plug in the y1 value of the point, so y minus 5 equals -1/8. I'm going to use that slope times x minus the x value of the point, which is 2. Then I wanted to simplify to write the equation in slope intercept form. So y minus 5 equals -1/8x. When I distribute here, this would be a positive 2/8, but that's going to reduce to 1/4. So you can go ahead and reduce. Add 5, so I would have y equals -1/8x. If I have 1/4 plus 5, let's do a little fraction lesson. 1/4 plus 20/4, right? Get a common denominator, so that would be 21/4. So that's what we need to have here as our b value in this point. Okay, so I just found a common denominator of 4, and so my answer would be y equals -1/8x plus 21 over 4. Okay, number 10 says find the slope, then describe what it means in terms of the rate of change of the dependent variable per unit change in an independent variable. Okay, I just want you to be able to interpret slope when you have it in an equation and tell what it means. This says the linear function f of x equals 3.9x plus 20 represents the percentage of people, f of x, who graduated from college x years after 1998. Okay, so this is in function notation. It would be the same thing as y equals 3.9x plus 20. So that means my slope is 3.9. And so what does it mean that this is positive? Okay, it means that the number of people who have graduated from college since 1998 has increased. Okay, so that's the kind of things it would ask you on the homework. If it were a negative slope, then it means that that amount would have decreased. Okay, number 11. The average rate of change of the function from x sub 1 to x sub 2. Okay, we have a function f of x is equal to the square root of 2x. I want to first find the function's value at x sub 1. Okay, my x sub 1 is equal to 2. So if I plug that in, it would be the square root of 4, which is 2. Then I want to find the function value at x sub 2, okay, which is given to be 8. So that would be the square root of 2 times 8, square root of 16, which is 4. The average rate of change is the same thing that we were doing earlier with slope. Okay, it's going to be the change in your function, or we say change in y over change in x. Okay, that's one way we think about slope. But if I'm talking about change in y, that's also the change in the function values. Okay, so the long kind of formula for this is f at x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, like I said, that is nothing but just the slope formula. I found the value of the function at x sub 2 right over here. It was 4, so I would plug in 4 minus, what is the value of the function at x sub 1? It was 2 over, what was the x sub 2 value? It was 8, and the x sub 1 value was 2, and then I just reduce. So 4 minus 2 would be 2 over 6, and that reduces to 1/3. So the average rate of change of this function from 2 to 8 is 1/3.